My name is Kuldeep and I welcome you all to today's session on 20 GK question, which we have specifically curated from the Hindu newspaper as well as the Indian Express. So let's start with the questions for today. So the first question which is given in the 20 GK question is regarding which is the new government helpline number started for assistance and information on the Citizenship Amendment Act. So as you may know that recently the Citizenship Amendment Act rules were notified by Ministry of Home Affairs, after which this act has become applicable. For regarding more information regarding this CAA would be covered in today's Hindu news analysis, which would be live at 6:30. So there you can, if you want to know more details about it, you can watch that video to know more. So here you have to tell me what is the new helpline number for assistance for CAA. So four options. Is it 1234? Is it 1320? Is it 2014? Or is it 1032? So answer here is D, 1032. 1032 is the new helpline number launched by the Ministry of Home Affairs for assistance regarding Citizenship Amendment Act. Let's move to the next question, again related to the same act of Citizenship Amendment Act. So also in the present newspaper of today, the Hindu newspaper, the first news is regarding this only. So therein the Hindu newspaper has reported that when they called the helpline, therein the reporter has told them that this is a mandatory document and this can be obtained from any of the XYZ person. I'm not telling you the name of that person because otherwise this question would become easy. So you have to tell me which of the following is a mandatory document for an application under the Citizenship Amendment Act 2019. So first is it a eligibility certificate issued by a local authority? Is it the Aadhaar card? Is it a passport of the origin country? Or is it D, visa by Indian government? So if you have read the Citizenship Amendment Act, you would know that these two are actually not required. That's why this act has come up. Basically, what this act does is that it provides citizenship to persecuted minorities, persecuted non-Muslim minorities from three states or from three countries of Afghanistan, Pakistan and Bangladesh to get Indian citizenship without the requirement of these documents, which means these are eliminated. Next is Aadhaar card. Aadhaar card is actually not a proof of citizenship. If you will see your Aadhaar card, it is written there on only that Aadhaar card is not a proof of citizenship. So the answer here, if you have read today's newspaper, you will find out it is the eligibility certificate, which can even be issued by a pujari or a community leader. It can be by a pujari, a community leader, or it can be even your ward elected head, known by different names in different states. So the answer for second would be A. Next question. So this was also in today's newspaper. So as per United Nations International Organization for Migration report, what is the leading cause of deaths of migrants over the last decade? So you may know that there are many kinds of migrants. One category of is illegal migrants. Who are illegal migrants? So illegal migrant is a person who has entered your country without valid visa or without valid visiting documentations. So you have to tell me. So there is a report by International Organization for Migration under which it has reported what has been the major cause of deaths of migrants in the last 10 years. So was it harsh environmental condition? Was it drowning in sea or ocean or in river? Was it vehicle accident or was it infectious disease? So answer here is B, drowning. And more than 50% of that deaths of migrant was due to drowning in a river or sea or ocean. Second was harsh environmental conditions. So this issue also came up when we found out that many Indians are actually going to South America and then trying to cross into North America through the jungles, because of which of harsh environmental condition, because of infectious disease, etc. they were dying. The third reason is vehicle accidents, and fourth is your infectious disease like malaria, etc. However, the leading cause is drowning. Next question is regarding which of the following is responsible for conducting municipal elections in India. So we have this year we are going to have Lok Sabha elections, and most of you must know that it is the Election Commission of India which conducts the Lok Sabha election as well as the Rajya Sabha election. So right now I am asking you who of the following authority is responsible for conducting municipal election, which would be a third tier election at the city level. So is it Election Commission of India? Is it state government? Is it State Election Commission, or is it District Election Commission? So answer here is C, State Election Commission. So Election Commission of India is responsible for elections of President, election of Vice President, election for Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, and election for Legislative Assembly and Legislative Council. So both at the center and state level, all the elections are conducted by the Election Commission of India. However, when it comes to intra-state or inside state, it is usually the State Election Commission which is responsible for panchayat elections as well as the municipal level elections. So these are the two elections which are conducted by State Election Commission. Moreover, there is no such authority known as District Election Commission. There are only two types of election commissions. Now let's move to the next question. So next question is regarding a new employment report known as India Employment Report, which has reported that youngsters in India account for almost 83% of the country's unemployed workforce. So it would be very hard to define a youngster, but you can say it would be probably a person between the age of 18 to 35 who can be considered a youngster. So as per this report, almost 83% of unemployed people belong to this age group. There might be many negative reasons, but one of the reason is that between 8 to 24 people are usually in colleges, and although our enrollment ratio in college is very low, but still a huge chunk of people are in colleges. That can be one of the reasons. However, it does not we cannot deny this fact that there are other reasons for unemployment. For one of the major reason is being that there is not proper job creation in the public as well as private sector also. Both the sector are very behind when it comes to the total number of jobs which is required to create the situation of full employment. So however, I am asking you here only the report, publisher of this report. So this India Employment Report is published by which of the following? So first, is it the Niti Aayog? Because it's an India specific report. Is it Niti Aayog? Second, is it ILO? Is it IHG, or is it both B and C? So answer here is D, both B and C. So it is the ILO, or International Labour Organization, an Institute of Human Development, who jointly published this report known as India Employment Report. Next question related to elections. Again, the election is a hot topic this year, so that's why many questions every day you will find would be regarding elections. So Bombay High Court has overturned the ECI notification. So Election Commission of India, which is responsible for conducting election, has come up with a notification notifying conducting a by-poll or by-election in the Akola West Assembly constituency in Maharashtra, which is MLA, which is a legislative assembly seat in the state of Maharashtra after the death of sitting MLA. So I'm asking you, what is the time frame provided to conduct a by-election to fill a vacancy? So in case a sitting MLA or MP dies, his seat becomes vacant. A seat can become vacant by three modes. First is by death of a person, by resignation of a person, or when a person gets disqualified, then also a seat becomes vacant. So this seat has become vacant after the death of the sitting MLA. So Bombay High Court has actually overturned the ECI notification because of this only. So I am asking you, what time frame is provided to conduct a by-election to fill a vacant seat? Which means, let's say if a person has died on a specific date, in how many month or a year, or is there no time limit in which an election should be conducted to fill that vacant seat? So answer here is A, within 6 months. So if a seat has become vacant for any of the reasons, then the election to that seat should take place within 6 months of that seat becoming vacant. However, there is one more addition which you have to answer me in the next question. So let's look at the next question. So next question is regarding the same by-election only. So in which scenario is a by-election not required to fill a vacant seat of an MLA or MP? So I told you in the last question, we find out that an election or a by-election should take place within 6 months of a vacancy. However, there is one specific condition, although there are two conditions, but one specific factual condition wherein a by-election is not required by law. So the law which regulates election in India is RPA 1951. Apart from Election Commission notification and their rules, there is Representation of People Act of 1951, which regulates elections in India. And as per one of the provisions, a by-election is not required if a very little time is required. So you have to tell me what time it is. So if the remaining term for the new member is less than 1 year, let's say that person, the seat become vacant after 4 years, 4 years, 1 month, which means if we held our election now, it will, that new member, let's say elections are held in the month of February and the next elections are due in January. So the next person is going to have only 11 months to become an MLA MP. So I hope you understood this. Second is, if the remaining term for the new member is less than 2 years. Third, if the remaining term for the new member is less than 6 months. Let's say if I conduct the elections in month of March, by the time of September or October, the next elections are going to, next election cycle is going to continue. So should we or should we not have a by-election? And last is if it is less than 3 months. So answer here is A, if the remaining term for the new member is less than 1 year. And going back to the last question, it was this reason, because if the by-election would have taken place in Akola West constituency seat right now, then the new member would have been an MLA and MP only for 11 months. So court actually, Bombay High Court actually overturned the notification for by-poll elections and told them that there should be a new election only after completion of this term. Next question, let's move to the next question related to the field of economics. So India's current account balance recorded a deficit of $10.5 billion in third quarter of FY24, financial year 24. What is the meaning of the term current account deficit economics? So current account balance is basically, so any country, when we look at the amount of trade in both and in goods and services, that balance account is known as current account balance. And if there is a deficit, there is whenever there is some conditions are there because of which one criteria is more, one criteria is less, then it is known as deficit. If the other criteria is more, it is beneficial for a country, then we call it a surplus, current account surplus. Otherwise it is known as current account deficit. I'm not telling you those terminology because that's what the question is about. So the current account deficit, there is a current account deficit of $10.5 billion in third quarter of FY24. So my question is very simple. What do you understand by the term current account deficit in economics? So is it a surplus in a country's trade balance? Is it amount of money a country borrows from international financial institution, or I can say, is it the country's debt? Is it the situation where a country's total imports exceeds its total exports? Or fourth, is it that represent the excess of country's government expenditure over its revenues? So answer here for current account deficit is C. Like I already told you, here also I give you a hint also. The current account balance deals with trades in goods and services. So whenever the total imports of goods and services exceeds the total exports, we would say that India is actually having a CAD or current account deficit, and that is the meaning of this term. If we are talking only about goods trade and there is a deficit, it is known as trade deficit also. And usually India does not, because India is very strong in services, we usually have a services surplus. However, when we add the both of them, this is so much negative that the total CAD, total current account balance, turns out to be a deficit. That's why India has been facing a current account deficit this year also. Next question. So as per latest data, India's foreign exchange reserves increased by $32.9 billion during April-December 2023. So what are the main elements of forex or foreign exchange reserves in India? So forex or foreign exchange consists of a basket of certain types of constituents. You have to tell me which of the following is the main element of forex reserves in India, or is it only one of those? So you have to tell me that forex exchange is basically when we do exports and when we get imports. So if there is whatever we are earning out of exports, whatever extra we are earning out of exports becomes part of the forex reserves. So you have to tell me which of the following is or is not the main element of forex reserves in India. So 4 option: is it foreign currencies, is it gold reserve, is it special drawing rights, or is it all of the above? So I made it a very easy question because the answer is all of the above. So apart from the above 3, the fourth constituent of a forex reserve is in India is the IMF reserve position, which is simply the amount which is of India with the IMF. So that's tell you the IMF reserve position. Special drawing rights are also from the IMF only. Okay. So when we do economics, we make you explain these terms also. Next is your gold reserve, which is the reserves of gold, and foreign currency for whatever trade you have done in dollars or other terms or other currencies. Let's move to the next question. So India has achieved a 16% decline in new TB cases. So as you may know that India is the capital of TB cases in the world. Most number of TB cases as well as deaths in absolute terms occur in India. So my question is very simple. TB or tuberculosis is a contagious disease caused by which of the following? Is it caused by bacteria? Is it caused by virus? Is it caused by both? Or is it caused by a fungus? So answer here is A, bacteria. So tuberculosis or TB is caused by a bacteria known as Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Mycobacterium tuberculosis is the name of the bacteria which is responsible for causing tuberculosis and which has made India the capital of TB cases in the world. Next question. So this year you will find in the editorial section there is a news that January and February this years have been the hottest months of January and February ever recorded. So I am asking you a question, which of the following year has been declared as the warmest year on record as per WMO, which is the International Organization for Meteorological Purposes. So was it the year of 2016? Was it 2020? Was it 2023? Or is it the present year of 2024? So as of now, the answer is C, 2023. So last month only WMO recorded 2023 or declared 2023 as the warmest year on record. However, it is very much expected, looking at the trend going on of the increase in temperature, that 2024 by the year end would become the warmest year on record after the year completes. However, as of now, the warmest year on record would be 2023. Let's move to the next question. So the food waste index report. So there is a report, food waste index report, has reported that the world wasted an estimated 19% of the food produced globally in 2022. So let's say we have produced 100 kg of vegetables in a single year, vegetables and fruits in a single year, 20 kg of it, 19 kg of it got wasted, which means they were of no use. So you have to tell me this report, the food waste index report, is published by which of the following? So four options have been given. Is it WHO? Is it FAO? Is it UNEP? Or is it WFP? So it's a little bit a difficult question because it's not a very well-known index report. Moreover, the options are also very similar and the answer is actually does not has the word food in it. That's why I'll say it's a very difficult question. However, kudos to you if you have been able to answer this question. So this report is actually published by United Nations Environment Program. Let's move to the next question. So Rohingyas are a Muslim minority ethnic group and is now recognized as the world's largest stateless population. They have their roots in the Arakan Kingdom, which was a kingdom in the present day territory of which of the following countries? So Rohingya Muslims are in our news a lot. So you have to tell me, the question is not regarding Rohingya but regarding this Arakan Kingdom. And it was a kingdom in the 14 to 17th century, and this kingdom has now turned into a country. Now it has become part of a country, and you have to tell me this region is part of which of the following country. So is it part of Bangladesh? Is it part of Cambodia? Was it part of Indonesia, or was it part of Myanmar? So answer here is D, Myanmar. So Arakan region is actually a region in the state of Myanmar, wherein Myanmar state or Myanmar military junta has actually not recognized Rohingya Muslims as citizens of that country, and there has been a genocide of Rohingya Muslims in Myanmar, because of which they are forced to migrate to different countries. So one of their largest illegal camp has come up in Bangladesh in Cox's Bazar. Moreover, many Rohingyas have also illegally entered India, and there has been a huge hue and cry regarding their displacement in India also. However, Arakan Kingdom is in Myanmar. Next question. So next question is regarding FDI inflows. So Finance Ministry has recently reported a decline in an FDI or foreign direct investment inflow into India in the current year. So which of the following country is the largest source of FDI into India for the period 23-24? So when I see period 23-24, I am not asking you about a financial year. or if you will call it a financial year, it would be completed next year, which would be financial year 2024, would complete in the month of would complete in on 31st March of 2025. So you have to tell me, as per the latest data, which of the following country is the largest source of FDI into India? Is it Mauritius? Is it Singapore? Is it USA? Or is it Netherlands? So answer here is A, Mauritius. So currently it is a Mauritius which is actually contributing around 26% of the FDI inflows into India. Second is this and this. So 9%, 6%, and last is Japan around 4%. So these percentages are not important because they keep changing. I won't say every year, but every 6 months, every 3 to 6 months, these numbers keep changing. However, if you ask me which of the following country was the largest foreign recipient, largest source of FDI into India was, it would be USA for last year. However, pay attention to these because probably Mauritius would be the FDI, largest source of FDI for this year because of the amount of FDI which has already come into India. Next question. So Fair Trade Watchdog of India, Competition Commission of India, is conducting inquiries against some fintech entities. Fintech is basically, for example, your Paytm, etc., for unfair trade practices. So who currently serves as the chairperson of the Competition Commission of India? So Competition Commission of India is a statutory body created by CCI Act of 2002, and you have to tell me who is the current chairperson of the Competition Commission of India. So if you will read the financial page of the Hindu today, you will find out the answer here also. So four option: Ajay Tyagi, Ashok Kumar Gupta, Ravneet Kaur, MS Sahu. So answer here is C, Ravneet Kaur, and she is an important figure because she is the first woman chairperson of CCI. That's why this name becomes important for you all. Some women for the first time has become the chairperson of this body. That's why it becomes an important news item for you. Next question. So which of the following countries' central bank has raised interest rate for the first time since the global financial crisis of 2008, ending the era of negative interest rate? So if you understand monetary policy, how does monetary policy work is that RBI or a central bank of a country gives loans to a bank at certain X interest rate, usually the repo rate, and the bank finally add its profit. Let's say if it's given on X, it will increase the interest rate by 1 or 2%, and then it will finally give it to consumer. However, when there was a global financial crisis of 2008, which was actually due to sub-lending prime crisis in the USA, there was a global financial crisis because all the financial institutions of the world are actually interconnected. However, India skipped this global financial crisis because RBI was very prudent and was not ready to fully connect its banking system with the whole of the world, because of which the impact on India of global financial crisis was very less. So this is how the interest rate functions in an economy. So if this would be negative, let's say this would be negative, this means that the central bank or RBI is trying the bank to not keep its money into its account. It is trying because of deflationary practices, it is trying that the bank should not keep amount from the consumers, and what it will do is basically if the consumers cannot keep it with the bank, the consumer would be forced to spend. That's why some of the central government which were facing deflationary practices had started to provide for negative interest rate. So usually it was 0.0%, minus 0.01% in this country. Finally, this time, central bank has increased it to 0.01 in the positive. So you have to tell me which is the last country to reverse the era of negative interest rate. Was it the European Union? Was it the Netherlands? Was it Japan? Or was it North Korea? So answer here is C, Japan, which was the last country which was having a negative interest rate, and it has raised its interest rate for the first time in the last 17 years. However, the first one to do so was European Union to start a negative interest rate after this European global financial crisis only. Let's move to the next question. So next question is regarding same-sex marriages. So one of the country has actually become the latest in line of a number of countries who have legalized same-sex marriage in their country. So you have to tell me the name of that country. Is it India which has passed it? Was it Netherlands? Was it Thailand? Or was it Russia? So answer here is C, Thailand. So if you today's newspaper in the world page, if on the top half, on the second part, the top second photo of the on the text and context page or on the foreign page is regarding Thailand news only. Therein you will find out that Thailand has become one of the countries which has now legalized same-sex marriages. Netherlands was the first country to legalize it. This year there was a case in Supreme Court. Last year there was a case in Supreme Court, and Supreme Court actually decided not to give them legal sanctity to their marriage. And Russia, which is an orthodox country, does not recognize same-sex marriages. Let's move to the next question. So which of the following strategic deep sea port of Sri Lanka is being developed by China? So since Sri Lanka is an island country and it's a very strategic country located at the mouth of Indian Ocean, that's why many ports are being developed by foreign entities or by foreign superpowers. India is also involved in Adani Port actually signed a $700 million contract with Sri Lanka to develop a port. However, you have to tell me that port which is being developed by China. So is it the Hambantota port? Is it Colombo port? Is it Gale port? Or is it Trincomalee port? So answer here is A, Hambantota port, which is being developed by China. Second, Colombo port is actually developed by Adani from India. Gale port and Trincomalee port are just two options. However, some time ago, Trincomalee, which is very near to Chinese seaport, was proposed to be developed by India. However, this deal did not fluctuate it. Next question, second last question for the day. So India has extended rupees 10,000 crore as financial support to which of the following countries over the next 5 years? So India has promised 10,000 crores as financial support, which it would be giving in various tranches, and for the next 5 years 10,000 crore rupees would be provided to this country as financial support. So four options: is it Afghanistan, is it Bhutan, is it Nepal, or is it Sri Lanka? So all four countries gets financial aid from India. However, it is a country of Bhutan which has recently been promised rupees 10,000 crore as financial support for the next 5 years, and it was in news because yesterday only 500 crores were released as financial support to Bhutan. Now let's come to the last question from the sports section, specifically from the IPL. So recently there was one match in which match the IPL record for the most number of runs by a team in an IPL innings was broken, and that team also came out as winner. So four options: was it MI, was it SRH, was it RCB, or was it LSG? So answer here is Sunrisers Hyderabad, which made the score of 277 if I'm not wrong, and it was against MI, which was also able to make a score of 235 something. However, the answer here is B. RCB had the earlier record of 265 or something. However, now the new record is in the name of Sunrisers Hyderabad. So class, so student, that's it for today. I hope you had a learning environment and got to know new facts about from 320 questions. Also, it is expected that you go through the questions also, because many facts are also mentioned in the question also. So that's it from my side for today. Thank you and have a very nice day.